To another story we're watching this afternoon, the newly sworn-in KwaZulu-Natal Premier Nomusa Dube-Ncube has vowed to work with women in different parts of the province, especially those in rural areas, to uplift them and their communities. Dube-Ncube was sworn in earlier today at a special sitting of the provincial legislature. She is the first woman to be Premier of KwaZulu-Natal since democracy in this country. She takes over from Sihle Zikalala, who resigned from the post after he lost out in the contest to be re-elected as chairperson of the ANC in KwaZulu-Natal. Let's get you a live update now with Karinda Jagmohan, our reporter standing by in Moy River. Karinda, how exactly is the new Premier, going to work with rural women specifically?
Well, we're actually listening to that right now. I'll take a peek inside the building, and Premier Nomusa Dube-Ncube is speaking currently in the sitting, a special sitting of the KZN legislature, where you see the female leaders within the party, within the legislature, taking the seat and speaking about various issues surrounding women. Now, also who's part of the portfolio of quality of life, especially for women, children and persons living with disabilities or those who are vulnerable, is Dr. Imran Kika, the MPL for the DA. So thank you for joining us. Now, I've caught you off guard. As you say, you are here because this is part of your portfolio, and it is a special one because we have the first female Premier. So considering that, what challenges do you have now for the Premier to uplift the women of our province?
Well, short and sweet, I think this morning the leader of the Democratic Alliance, the Honourable Francois Rogers, made it very clear that she will have a friend in the Democratic Alliance if certain criteria are met. Obviously, if those are not met, then we cannot be friends at all. The other thing is that we are very concerned that KwaZulu-Natal has become the rape capital of South Africa. In particular, we know that the Umlazi area, followed by Inanda, are the worst affected in the province. We also heard a grand speech by the President yesterday. The reality is that much of it, in my opinion, was a lot of hot air. The reality of that is that as much as he says that there are good laws and that there are good things that are going to happen and that there are many things in place to protect the rights of women and protect the dignity of women, it doesn't translate into the onto the ground. If we just look behind us, we have the South African police services, which are not able to deal with all those protection orders. They don't have enough vehicles to go and attend to a protection order. If a protection order is granted and the woman is in difficulty, she's probably going to die because they are not going to reach them. We have a police service where we have a minister who we should get rid of because he's the one that is telling women that they are lucky that they were only raped by one person, or that they were not raped at all. You can't use the word lucky and rape in the same sentence. So, it translates into a lot of hot air when you listen to all the good things, and it doesn't translate into resources on the ground, boots on the ground, and that women's rights are actually entrenched without everything in place.
It is really a terrifying time to be a woman in South Africa. When it comes to our province, what is something tangible that the KZN government can actually work on to perhaps find one step in the right direction of having women feel more safe and more financially secure?
Well, first, I think a lot of women's rights that come, or travesties of women's rights, female rights, that come to our standing committee are because the Department of Health, for example, or other departments do not fulfill their rights. So we receive these complaints, and we believe that the committee is well placed to direct these things through the various departments in government. It's an oversight committee that plays a significant role, and my view is that the committee has been doing the best it can. However, the biggest problem that we have in KwaZulu-Natal, as is anywhere in the country, is the lack of allocation of proper resources to all of these things. So that's the first thing. Now, you are asking an opposition politician about the allocation of resources. It's very simple. We have a governing party in the country who deploys cadres into government that enable the looting of the state. What it translates to is the lack of services and service delivery to citizens. This is the general problem. And if the new Premier and anybody else at the helm of government can show that they can do different, they will have a friend in the Democratic Alliance. Otherwise, we will stand up to them as we've always stood up to them and continue to fight for the rights of the citizens. We place them first, others place their parties first.
interesting comments there. Thank you very much, Dr. Imran Kika. He is the MPL in the KZN legislature for the DA, and of course his portfolio here is quality of life, something that is being discussed for the women and children in KwaZulu-Natal at the special sitting. Nomusa Dube-Ncube, the newly elected Premier, still speaking important remarks there about allocation of funds. This MPL saying that it is an important step, something tangible we can look to is the proper allocation of funds from our various departments, from health to finance and going forward, economic development, and really, of course, speaking to transparency and other contingency measures. We also understand there's been a call simply to be wary of what women need on the ground when it comes to better policing as well. We have heard calls for the current police minister to resign because of the comments he made following the Krugersdorp multiple rapes of women. And of course yesterday the president explaining that there are new laws that are going to be passed to provide police with more or empower police to make arrests when it comes to perpetrators of gender-based violence. But still too an important aspect to touch on is the allocation of funds and how this premier will do that in KwaZulu-Natal, and really who will she put first in her administration at the helm of the province.
Karinda Jagmohan live for us in Moy River. Thank you very much for that update.